Good evening, everyone. How the devil are you? Or good afternoon, or good whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Hope that intro worked again there. I think I've got it pretty much sussed on how to kind of coordinate things. Yes, it's been a busy old week, hasn't it? Friday's rolled around again. Cheers, everyone. It's time for a beer. Oh, dear me. In case anyone is interested, it is the Carlsberg export, which will be fueling my deliberations and pronunciations and pronouncements tonight. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way straight away. We'll see who was first in, and a quick run through the register. We got Rent to Kill first in, then Mark Kerno, Terry Day, Dave Fiendish, Rob Bald. There's my phone going, which I'm just going to put on silent now. And as I said, Rent to Kill, Mark Kerno, Terry Day, Dave Fiendish, Rob Bald, Theme Tunes, Peter Collins, Michael Palmer, Sean House, David James, Dr. Gomez 1, Vincent Brennan, Peter Borthwick is in. So is Anton Wayne Smith. Johnny Random's there. Peter Borthwick, have I said you already? I just have. Anyway, Stephen Hedger, Savvy64 is there. And then we got Ben Allmark. And who else we got? We got Robert Galbraith, Relaxing Meditation. And scrolling down, I can see we've got John Ross. And let's see who else. Peter Nicholson is there. So is James Hunt and Wayne Smith. Then going down a bit further, I can see we've got David Mitchell is in, and somebody shouting Flake there, Peter Collins, in fact. Scrolling down, don't want to say those names again. We got Dogfather 61. Student of mine, having a beer and murdering Layla. It's blowing a hoolie. It is here as well, mate. I'm going to be talking about that shortly. Then Chris Ottewell is in, and who else have we got? We got Calby and the Rocco Cat. 60s Man is there, and who else? We got Deco Dude, David Evans, MG, Amadeus is in, Josh Jones. In Bangkok, no less. Then we got Bill Mumbo and Colin Falcon. Yes, he's experiencing the same weather as me because he's just around the corner from me. Then who else have we got? Let's scroll down and see. We've got Stephen Sproson, the Essex Cat. Thomas Mulvaney, John Wilde, John Channing is in. Stratboy 999 is there, so is Tom Clark, Graham Reeves and Timbo. Then we got Far John bringing up the rear there. There's Ian Clark as well. Just made it, he says. Ron Wells is there, so is DJW. And Matt Spillett with... he's got a Champ 12, but the reverb isn't working. Does anyone know if it's worth getting fixed? I don't know, mate, to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with that amp or what their value is. And then I see, did I say Tom Clark? There he is again. And Johnny H is there, so is Peter Shields, Adam Sand, Maiden Man 74. Sargi is in. I'm doing a video that you requested at the moment, Sargi. That'll be going up in a few weeks. Phil B is there, so is Ravi. And who else we got? Well, William Forrest, Steve Cassidy, hello, mate. And James Falconer, Graham Campbell. And scrolling down, we've got Brad Dowell, J. Ao Yong, and let's have a look. Johnny Love, Neil Roberts. Watches and Guitars is in. Randy Upchurch, Dave Stevens, Bass at Night. William Foster, Moto Takahi, I believe that's hopefully how it's pronounced. Then I think that, and Lithium Cad just coming in just as I was finishing there. So if I missed your name, I do apologise. I just tried to speed through that roll call because it was kind of getting longer and longer and longer, wasn't it? Right. I have written down somewhere because, here it is on the first page. What's coming up on the channel this week. So let's get that out of the way because I often kind of get about halfway through and then forget. Right, so on Sunday, a Telecaster comparison. I have quite a few Telecaster style guitars in here, and I thought I'd done every one compared with every other one and done all of the sort of permutations, but turns out I hadn't. So we're going to be looking at the ERT Telecaster style guitar that you can see back there on the wall there, that lovely Earth guitar. We're going to be comparing that with the Faisley Outlaw Coyote Plus. So the kind of off-brand Telecaster comparison. Very different guitars, but they still maintain a lot of that Telecaster soul, really. So that's coming up on Sunday. Monday's video, if you're watching on Wednesday, you'll have seen me kind of figuring out one of my own solos. The reason why I did one of my own solos was because people had asked for me to kind of show the process of working out the solo, and the only way I was not going to get like some kind of copyright telling off was if I did one of my own, kind of playing the original artist version of it to kind of figure it out. Well, it's that solo analysis on Monday, the tab and everything, which will be going up on Patreon. Then on Tuesday, kind of returning to a theme that I first started kind of talking about. Gosh, it must be 3 years ago or thereabouts. The 70s was just a great age if you were into guitar, because even the top 40 kind of throwaway bubblegum pop hits often had a lot of great guitar work on them. So that's what I'm talking about on Tuesday. 5 massively underrated guitar songs from the 70s. Then we're talking about key changes on Wednesday, a viewer's question about that sort of thing. So I'll just mention that if you have any questions of a guitar or music related nature and you think I'm the chap to answer them, then get in touch. You know where to find me, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. Just ask your question, as long as it's guitar or music related. There's no such thing as a stupid question or a silly question. The only silly question is the one that you don't ask, because we all have to kind of learn sometime. We all make that transition from not knowing about something or knowing how something works to knowing about it. And quite often a lot of people think once they know about it and it seems obvious that they forget that there was a time when they didn't know it. So if you've got a question, music or guitar related, then get in touch and might feature in a video. Then that's Wednesday's video. Then on Thursday, again, just at the risk of sounding like the 4 Yorkshiremen of the Monty Python thing, when I were a lad, luxury, all that kind of stuff. Just comparing how easy it is. We know how kind of cheap and affordable and accessible, and how good, cheap, affordable, accessible guitars have got these days. But, all of the associated stuff that goes with them. Home recording, for example. Those of us who started home recording in the days before, we all had computers in our homes, like me, we'll remember paying hundreds of pounds for a cassette-based 4-track recorder, and just the sheer accessibility, I guess, of high-quality recording these days. There's just no excuse not to do it. If you're a home guitarist and you're not doing home recording and documenting your IDs or just recording yourself practicing, then you're missing out on a whole load of fun and progress, potentially, because that's one of the things that you should always do, is record your practice and listen back to it, and then you can sort of you can listen as an observer rather than as a participant. So it's dead easy, it's cheap, and in many cases free nowadays to record yourself at home. So if you're not doing it, then maybe you should think about doing it. Anyway, that is what's coming up on the channel this week. Let me just have a little bit of a swally after that marathon. Oh dear me, that's tasting rather good tonight. Let's see what's been going on in the chat while I've been blethering. So I saw a couple of questions as I was scrolling through earlier. So let's take a look and see if I can kind of find them and hopefully answer them. Let's have a look. Malcolm Spillett and your Fender Champ 12 there. I'm not sure, what the deal is with that amp, but if it's a serviceable amp and it's only the reverb that isn't working, and well, there's plenty of other ways of adding reverb to a guitar tone, isn't there? Then Let's have a look. Scrolling up. Has anyone heard from Gordo Canuck? I haven't. I'll tell you who else is missing as well. We haven't seen Dave Lewis in quite some time, have we? Don't know what's happened to him. I used to get emails from him all the time, but it's I haven't heard from him in ages. Just Peter Collins, what you saying there, mate? I used the multi-effects for a long time as a cheap way of getting a lot of pedals. Switched to a pedal board last year and I've been much happier using it. Yeah, that's an argument. I mean, it's when I used to kind of gig, I had a pedal board, and I always dreamed of being able to afford one of these programmable multi-effects things. So, so you didn't have to switch one pedal on, another pedal off, and another one on, and alter the settings on another one just to go from the verse into the chorus of the song. It would be nice to just kind of have all that preset and just hit the patch. But nowadays everybody's going back to pedals again. To be honest, I just have, well, you've seen my pedal board. I did a video on it ages ago. Wah, compressor, Horseman, looper, and EQ. That's what's on my board at the moment. Oh, I see. We're talking about the Tone Master Pro. Yeah. Is anybody else underwhelmed by that? I've seen 2 or 3 demonstrations of it. I saw Rhett Shull's demo of it, and I saw a couple of others. I can't remember why, but it's a Rhett Shull one that sticks in my memory. And it was okay. I mean, it wasn't a bad sound, but it wasn't, oh my God, this is amazing either. I mean, you're dealing with, kind of YouTube compression and everything, I guess, so you're not getting possibly a proper idea of what it sounds like in the room. But I've heard better things on YouTube. I have something of a checkered past with what they're called, IK Multimedia, the Amplitude people, I never ever liked Amplitude, but all of the reviews I've heard of the Tonex pedal, I'm kind of thinking, okay, yeah, this is really good. But then again, you see, all I do with any kind of rig that I'm plugged into is I think, okay, how do I make this sound like a Marshall? Okay, twiddle, twiddle, twiddle. There it is. Now sounds like a Marshall. Tape it all down. Forget about it. So do I need something that is going to, impersonate, however accurately, Marshall amps, Fender amps, Boogie amps, Soldano amps, and Vox amps, and probably not. So it would always seem like something of a waste to spend that amount of money, whether it's the 1,700 quid for the Tone Master Pro or was it the 400 for the Tonex pedal. Well, the point I'm making is that the Tone Master Pro has sort of underwhelmed me greatly. I still want Marshall to do what Fender have done with the Tone Master amps. Do a digital model of one amp, put it in a kind of combo, and then sell it, as the digital version of that amp. Imagine if you could buy, a Marshall Bluesbreaker, the kind of Clapton Beano album amp. Imagine if you could buy one of those and it didn't, require a forklift truck to kind of move it, and it didn't require a mortgage to buy it, and it didn't require, it didn't require a regular kind of trip to the amp tech to fix it because it had gone wrong again because it's a Marshall. I reckon if Marshall were to do that, or why does it have to be Marshall? In fact, I wonder if another amp manufacturer could, kind of start. If Marshall aren't going to fill that gap in the market, then maybe another amp manufacturer should. Obviously they couldn't market it as, using any kind of brand names, but if they called it, a British 60s Beano amp or something like that, then everybody would know what it was. And, and I'd definitely check one out. So there you go. Let's have a look. Bill Mumbo is saying, John, remind people to thumbs you up. Missus, yes. I had a bit of that when I was having the old biopsy a couple of years ago. Yes, up you go. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Yeah, if you want to hit like, then hit like. I'm not. I don't solicit those kind of things. I don't want to kind of come across as being too needy, to be honest with you. Timbo is asking the similar question. Kempers, John, yes or no? No from me for the reasons I've just stated. I don't need everything that they do. My needs from a signal chain are very, very simple. I like to add effects, the majority of the effects, after the fact. So. Well, you know what I use. I use the Blue Guitar Amp 1 for my tone, and 99% of the time that's just on the vintage channel, which sounds like an old Plexi amp through a 4x12. Great IR in that Blue Guitar Amp 1. The speaker simulation on that is just really kind of really properly good. People get, I think, a little bit fixated these days on, can you change the IRs? Can you change the cabs? Well, on this you can't, but I don't need to, so I don't worry about it. So I just maybe a little bit of wah, a little bit of compression, a little bit of drive, a little bit of EQ, as I say, just the sort of usual front end stuff, and then choruses and delays and reverbs and ping pongs and all that sort of stuff I add over there on that PC in Reaper, because frankly this is the only place where I play. I think the days of me getting up on my hind legs in front of an audience are pretty much behind me now. I'm not saying, never saying never, but I can't really foresee any circumstances where I'm going to need, something that gives me everything that Reaper does, and guitar rig and all of the kind of capabilities I've got there, at the local pub, playing, for a paying audience. This is where I play nowadays, and I'm just kind of set in my ways, and I like to sit here on an evening in my carpet slippers, and just kind of do what I do. I don't feel any need to change it. So would I use a Kemper? I don't think I would have any use for it, to be honest with you. Excuse me, I do really rather need a top up. Emergency remedial truth. You're saying Fender has a new amp modeler. It's the Tone Master Pro, mate. It'll cost you a whopping amount of beer tokens if you decide you want to own one. And I was talking about it earlier. I'm just saying, the reviews I've seen of it are underwhelming, I think. James Hunt is asking, new Stones album out today. Have you had a listen to it yet? And if so, your verdict. I had it on this morning. As I say, usually when I go downstairs on a morning at stupid, and pour myself a coffee and get my eyes to focus and generally kind of ease myself into the day, then what I do is listen to music and read the paper on my phone. And I always kind of listen to an album end to end usually. And this morning I saw that the Hackney Diamonds was available. I've been listening to that lead track Angry for a couple of weeks now. Yeah, I mean it's a Stones album. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's like it's a little bit like watching a James Bond movie. You know what you're in for, you know what you're going to get, and you just sit there and enjoy the ride. And if it was anything too surprising, then you wouldn't be happy about it, because that's not what you kind of signed up for. Is it one of their best albums? I don't know, because I'm sure when Exile on Main Street came out, when that was their latest album, there were people saying that it wasn't as good as the previous one or the one that they'd done a few years beforehand. Satanic Majesties, that one. It's it sounds like a Rolling Stones album. There were quite a few catchy kind of riffy things going on there that I was listening to. I think you can definitely hear. I can't remember how many tracks Charlie played on. I think it might have only been one, but there was one where I thought, oh yeah, this definitely sounds like the Stones of old. And I mean, just the fact that they're still kind of creating this kind of content. I mean, they're all pushing 80, aren't they? And it's a Stones album. I enjoyed it. Time will tell how much it grows on me, basically. Ian Geddes is saying, Boss Katana, best amp ever. Had Marshalls, Fenders, HH, Mesa Boogie, plug into a Katana, and it just works. No fiddling. Happy days. Yep. I mean, I played through a few of them. I do have a little bit of a side issue with the Katana, which is, well, I'll come to that in a moment. But, in terms of just easy to use and sounding good, it's like it's become the new PV Bandit, hasn't it? Because once upon a time, if you just wanted a rock solid, reliable, pretty good sounding amp you could turn up and do a country gig with it, or you could turn up and do a metal gig with it, or you could turn up and do a jazz gig with it, then the PV Bandit was the one to have. And I think the Katana has kind of taken that crown, really. My only issue with it is that when you try and use it as a recording interface, it works, but the sound that you get recorded doesn't reflect the sound that you're hearing coming out the speaker. It just doesn't so you've got to kind of, I guess you've got to learn to compensate for it and so on. But I've noticed that a few times because a lot of my students have got the Katana and they send me, recordings of their homework, if you like. And I'll say to them, yeah, it was not a bad solo, but that guitar tone, and they'll say, yeah, but it didn't sound like that when it was coming out of the amp. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. And also, when you use the Katana as a recording interface and like a speaker system for the amp, it adds all of the kind of overdrive and effects and all that kind of stuff onto whatever's being played back through the amp. So, like the Yamaha THR amps, don't do that. They just work as a little stereo kind of sound bar for your. I had one of those. It was a great little amp, but in terms of just plugging in and playing and getting a good sound coming out of the amp, which is the main reason for why anybody buys a guitar amp in the first place, really, isn't it? It's a great sounding amp. If I was going to record with one, I think I would just mic it up though, so I knew the sound that I'm hearing is the sound that I'm recording. So you've got Michael Purcell in. Wayne Smith. There you are, mate. Back in the 90s, I had a Laney linebacker, then a PV Bandit. The old linebacker was brilliant. I had the linebacker as well, mate. I went. I had a PV Bandit. I was the other way around. I went PV Bandit to Laney linebacker, to Hughes and Kettner PCS 50. If anybody remembers those, a cheap sort of solid state Hughes and Kettner amp. I know cheap and Hughes and Kettner don't usually go together, but I had one of those. Then I had, what did I have after the Hughes and Kettner? I think I had a Marshall JCM 900 combo, then a Marshall Valve State. Then I had the Marshall 30th anniversary combo. Are you seeing a pattern emerging here? And then, the 30th anniversary combo, beautiful sounding amp, but the damn thing might as well have been getting pocket money. It was getting repaired that often. And then after that, really, I just kind of, I settled into multi-effects units and amp modelers for a good wee while, culminating in the Vox Tone Lab. And when I used to gig with that, just straight into the PA, give me a little bit of the guitar in the monitors, it worked fine. And I thought, do I really need to lug an amp around? Let's have a look. Yeah, sometimes thin, sometimes dim, never thin. I always get your name the wrong way around, mate. Katana, great, but after a while, only a few settings get used, which proves that things such as the Tone Master Pro is a lot of money. Yeah, it is. And it also kind of proves, really, that the Tone Master amps, which just do one amp sound, you know, that's what I think most guitar players want, really. I'm speaking personally. Maybe I'm an outlier and an oddity, but I like the sound I get from anything that's vaguely Marshallish. That kind of suits me. That's how I like to play. That's the sound I like to get, and I can do pretty much everything I need to do with that. Case in point. Fast kind of rockabilly thing that I use for all the unboxing videos. It's a track I recorded years ago. It's called Reet Bobby Dazzler. And I decided to do like a re-record version of it. It's got to be a couple of years ago now. Just a video of me playing it, And I thought, well, this is kind of, I'm playing a Telecaster and it's got to have like that kind of rockabilly sort of sound. So I started thinking, Fender Tweed amp sims and Fender, like just Fendery kind of amp sims. And I just couldn't get the vibe that I want. I couldn't remember for the life of me what I'd used in terms of settings on the Tone Lab when I originally recorded it. But in the end, I got like what to me was my idea of a great sort of rockabilly tone using a Marshall amp sound, which isn't what you would normally expect, but that's what suits me. That's what I like to play through. So the idea of having something that can impersonate many, many, many different styles of amps, it's just, I don't know, it always feels like I'm wearing someone else's shoes when I'm playing through something that isn't a Marshall, really. But there you go. MG, what you're saying? I really like the 5 essential songs for beginners video. Would you consider making 5 essential songs for intermediate and 5 for advanced guitarists? Yeah, I could do that, I guess. It's the thing that makes that a little bit trickier, though, is everybody knows what a beginner is, but intermediate and advanced, it's a little bit harder to define. So I shall have a think about that. I might put a poll up in the community section where I'll just start a conversation there, really. About what do you consider intermediate and what do you consider advanced, and go from there. What we're saying here, Michael Purcell. See Harley Benton have new guitars in Q1. Not sure what that means. Using compensated neck and rolled fretboard edges in competition with Ert and Squire. Very possibly. This is just, I think, a really great thing, because competition, working, driving the market, delivering. Q1 of 2024. Yes, sorry. So there'll be new Harley Bentons coming out next year. With sorry, I'm a bit slow this evening. It's just competition driving the marketplace, and it's always happened. It's like, once upon a time, if you bought a £200 guitar, it was going to be made of plywood. Now, you can talk and we can debate and we can discuss the tonal properties of plywood, whether it makes any difference to the amplified tone or not. But I saw some of those plywood guitars start to delaminate, which is, try and spin that as a good thing. You can't. So, going back to late 80s, early 90s, a £200 guitar was going to be made of plywood, in most cases. And then along comes the Yamaha Pacifica 112 that, I still remember the ad from the back cover of Guitarist magazine as clear as day. And it was done in a natural finish, so you could see that it was, alder or poplar or something, that they were making them from a solid guitar. And then, within a very short space of time, Squire had stopped making plywood Stratocasters, and pretty much every other, guitar manufacturer that was aimed at the budget end of the market, they'd stopped using plywood because, people weren't buying them anymore. And, I think Harley Benton, and I'm going to get accused of being a shill here, but I'm not. If I was, I would be, I'd be getting some money off them, which I'm not. But I think Harley Benton are to be congratulated because, there are a few brands out there now that are producing guitars for under 500 quid with stainless steel frets. 10, 15 years ago, stainless steel frets, you having to spend £1,000 or more. And even then it wasn't, a given that that would be there. Let's have a look. Gary Shaw, nice to see you, mate. Played my friend's Dumble ODS. That was pretty good. Yeah, I've seen that Phil McKnight video about Amplified Nation, who make kind of recreations of Dumbles. I've never played through one, but it's something that, I suppose it's a bucket list kind of thing. But there's no such thing, I think, as the Dumble sound, because Mr. Dumble used to kind of tailor the amps to each individual player, didn't he? It was like a bespoke amplifier. So like each one would sound different. So to say there's such a thing as a Dumble sound is you can get a generalization. What most people mean when they talk about the Dumble sound is Robin Ford's guitar sound, really, as Keith Williams said in 5 What World recently. Derek Clacton, what you saying there, mate? My Squire Strat is plywood. Must be an old one then, mate, from the late 80s. It's more resonant acoustically than my other guitars, Swamp Ash, Alder, Mahogany, and Maple Cap. Well, fair enough, mate. You got a good one, and that is to be celebrated. All I'm saying is that I did see 1 or 2 plywood guitars. I don't think any were Squires. I think that the couple that I saw start to delaminate were those rather awful Epiphone by Gibson Strat copies, if anyone remembers those. They were nasty. And then again, as soon as I've said that, somebody's going to say, I got one of those and it's great, and I use it I gig with it all the time. The ones I saw were nasty. That's all I'm saying. 1989 or 1990, was it, Derek? Fair enough, mate. Let's have a look. See what else we've got going on. What else we got? Someone, Carl Tom there talking about the Valve State 15. I had the Valve State 8080, which was like the sort of the top of the range Valve State for a brief moment in time. That was a great amp. The only thing that let it down, I thought, was the clean channel. But if you were happy to live on the overdrive channel, then it was a great sounding amp. It was just pure personified Marshall, and it sounded great. But the clean channel was a bit clinical sounding. I thought it just didn't have a very kind of I just wasn't impressed with the clean channel. So I used to. That's really when I started getting into this whole kind of thing of staying on the dirty channel and just rolling the guitar's volume down. J. Aoyong, yeah, early Squires weren't made of plywood. The early Squires were made from, I don't know, but solid timber of some kind. We're talking sort of the early 80s. When was it 81 or 82 when Squires first kind of came out? Maybe a bit later. I don't know. Someone will correct me in the chat. But yeah, they were great guitars, those early Squires. The nearest equivalent you would say today is probably like the Squire Classic vibes, or the 40th anniversary Squires. I guess, yeah, the 40th anniversary ones, they came out last year, didn't they? So it would have been 82. And, you know, they were great guitars, but as the 80s went on, you know, it was just a gradual thing of corners started getting cut, and they resorted to plywood by the late 80s. And, you know, I had a Squire Strat back then, a Blackie lookalike, you know, kind of because I was like massive. Well, I still am massively into that era of Clapton's playing when he was playing Blackie, and maple fretboard, black Stratocaster, white scratch plate, and it looked the business, and it was a great sounding guitar. I bought it used, so I'm not sure what year it was. So I'm not sure whether it was plywood or not. And I could probably have, you know, if I could remember what it looked like inside the trem cavity. But you know, we're talking, you know, 30 years ago, so I can't. Let's have a look. What you're saying there, Chris Otter. Well, just bought a Squire Jazzmaster. Mightily impressed with the quality and sound. A couple of USA Fenders, and it stacks up very well against them. Well, yeah, I mean, my dislike of Fender offsets is well documented, but I always describe that as a me thing rather than a Fender thing. You know, I'm not really into that style of guitar, but there are plenty of people out there at the moment. You know, Mr. McKnight, for one, saying that you know, Squire guitars are, you know, as good as Fenders. Why buy a Fender when you can get a guitar for a fraction of the price that is as good as the Squires? Usually, when that kind of vibe starts going out, you know, it's alarm bells will start ringing in the company headquarters somewhere, and they'll start thinking, yeah, we need to kind of back these Squires off a little, dial back the quality a bit. I hope they don't do that, but you know, the cynical part of me is you know, kind of suggests that they will. Let's have a look, Steve. I had a 100-watt Laney TT100 3-channel combo. Loved it. Paid $1,100 for it. Sold it years ago. There's one on Facebook right now for 250 quid. Might be your old one. Yeah, that's it. I had a similar thing. My first ever proper guitar amplifier was also a Laney. It was a Laney Mighty 50. A single channel, 1B12, solid state combo. With just volume, bass, middle, treble. I think it had middle control, I'm not sure. Gain, and pretty much that was it. I don't think it even had reverb on it. And that just died on me, and I ended up moving on to something else. I can't remember what it was after that. But point is, I was in our local branch of Cash Converters about a year ago, and there was one in there for 25 quid. And I thought, should I? It's only 25 quid. I could get that, couldn't I? But I'd been out shopping, and I had a few other bits and pieces to carry home, and I just thought, nah. It's, you know, I'm not going to kind of have a use for it. So let's have a look, see what else we got. Oh, I see we've got Craig Stamen in. How are you, mate? Let's have a look. Ian Clark, do you notice the difference in sound from an amp 10-inch or 12-inch speakers and smaller 5-inch monitor speakers? I in a room like this, to be honest with you, in a small room, I don't think the difference between a 10-inch speaker and a 12-inch speaker will be noticeable. I think when you get that same amplifier into a bigger room, you will notice the difference because it's got a bigger space to fill. But even then, you're not going to be saying, "Oh, it's a world of difference." It's completely, it's kind of night and day difference. No, you're just going to say, that one's a little bit less bassy. The 10-inch one potentially. Talking about coming through monitor speakers, I mean, my monitors are the PreSonus Eris 3.5, so I'm using a 3.5-inch speaker, and I get massive sounds coming out of these. But then again, that's because a monitor speaker is a different beast to a guitar amp speaker. We've all seen, I'm sure we all have, or know a friend or know someone who is, massively into their kind of high-end hi-fi gear. And you just try suggesting that you need a bass and treble control on the amplifier to those people. No. You should never mess with the bass and treble. It's just, I like a bass and treble control. Anyway, but, the point I'm making is that a lot of the high-end hi-fi stuff, has, kind of what look like tiny little speakers, but they've got a bass response that will kick you in the guts. So I think it makes a difference in a sizable room on a guitar amp, but for the most part, it's not something I lose a lot of sleep over. Oh, Craig, you were nearly tempted to the dark side of guitar with a Floyd. I'm keeping my eye on eBay for a Sterling Axis Super Sport. Just every now and again. I'm not hunting for one, but every now and again you look on eBay and you think that's cheap. Oh yes, don't mind if I do. So I'm just keeping an eye open for them because that one that I was loaned was a fantastic guitar. But would the Sterling one be as good? Well, one way to find out, wouldn't it? David Evans, never mix on a hi-fi speaker. Yes, indeed. Wise words there, mate. Hi-fi speakers are designed to complement the sound, and studio monitors are designed to give you an honest representation of the sound. So, yeah, that's why I use studio monitors. Let's have a look. Ever play a Marlin, John? Plywood Nightmares? Yes, there is a special kind of place in my heart, a dark place in my heart for Marlin Sidewinder guitars. I briefly owned one in the late 80s, round about the time when they were, kind of for some reason the best selling electric guitar in the UK. I could never get away with them. I just couldn't keep them in tune. That awful KKT locking trem. Now, I'm not a fan of locking trems of any description, but the KKT one, I think it was before you could get like a licensed Floyd Rose. So they took like the basic idea of a locking trem, made it out of the cheapest materials possible, and made it badly as well, and it was just an utter nightmare to kind of get in tune and stay in tune, and the pickups managed to sound brittle and muddy at the same time. Not a happy memory for me, Marlin guitars. Nancy Davis, what would be your dream acoustic guitar? Well, I'm not sure I have one really. Tom Clark's got an Albert Lee Music Man Sunburst and a picture of him holding it. Well, lucky old you, mate. But Dream acoustic guitar. I don't know, really. I just need an acoustic to sound acoustic-y and be kind of, playable and kind of easy to play. I don't really have acoustic guitars. Don't light my fire in the same way that electric guitars do. So I've got a couple of acoustics on the back wall there, and now I've got them. I've got the kind of knack of recording them in a way that I'm happy with. Then those do the job. The reason I have two is because one's in standard tuning and the other's in Nashville tuning, and it's just so I can get like that kind of 12-string kind of thing going on. But I couldn't really say I have a dream acoustic guitar. A dream electric guitar. Even that, I mean, the whole kind of thing with my signature guitar did bring it home to me that I don't think I am a one guitar kind of person, really. Some days I want to play me PRS. Some days I want to play me cheap and cheerful little Paisley Telecaster copy. Some days I want to play me Les Paul. Some days I want to play, that Ert. It's just, and I can't pin it down as to why, but it's just, I fancy playing that one today. But if you to have a dream electric guitar or a dream guitar, it suggests that one guitar will fulfill all of your needs. So I don't think there is a guitar that would do that for me, really. Let's have a look, see what we got. Sean House is saying, I think Marlin guitars were top sellers in the UK because Argos had the Sidewinder guitar, the bass, and the bluefin. I didn't know that they were sold through Argos. Let's have a look. Let's see what we got. Okay, Jay Aoyong is saying the Sterlings I've tried weren't bad, but do try them out for yourself. Many are duds. Okay, it's the thing is there's like 3 tiers with Music Man guitars, isn't there? There's the kind of top end USA built guitars, then there's the Sterlings, and then there's the sub ones, which are the kind of I guess in sort of comparative terms, the sub guitars are like the sort of the Squire Bullet, or what they call them now, the Sonic ones, the real kind of low-priced entry-level ones. And I've heard a few bad stories about those. So, James, that Lindsay Buckingham guitar, I think I know the one you mean. I think it's an electric guitar that looks like an acoustic. And the name of it escapes me right now, but it is kind of, he's probably the only person who plays it, but there is a company that makes them. So let's have a look at what else we got. The bluefin was a kind of flying V looking thing. Oh dear me, yes. I'm not into flying Vs. I have to say that they're just, it's just, it doesn't, it's, I mean, look at me, I'm not built for a flying V. John Max saying the subs have a fake maple top, like a photo flame. There you go. Adam Sand saying, I like my Marlin Slammer, but I get the feeling I'm on my own here. Well, if you like it, mate, you've got nothing to prove to anybody. I used to get similar grief when I used to be a devotee of the Vox Tone Lab, when I used to show in older videos that, and these are the settings I used, and I'd show like a little screenshot of the Tone Lab, or a little kind of picture of the Tone Lab. And people would kind of come into the comments and say, I can't believe you're using that ancient piece of kit. Why are you using that? Why don't you, yada, yada, yada. And, well, because it sounded good. And it was only the fact that it started getting a little bit unreliable that I thought, yeah, maybe I should get some alternatives, and that's when I got into Ampsams. Ian Clark, thank you for reminding me. I was going to mention the weather. No, I wasn't going to kind of talk at length about it, mate. I was just going to say that it's been an absolutely dreary, miserable, cold, wet, windy day here, and my phone has been pinging all day with alerts telling me that it's a miserable, cold, wet, dreary, miserable day. Yeah, I know. I can look out of the window and see. I can take the dog for a walk and I can see and feel and experience exactly what kind of day it is. I don't need my mobile phone mithering me about it. I suppose they've just got to keep you on your toes, haven't they? Because it's this week you have to be scared of the weather. Next week it'll be, kind of killer bed bugs or something. Or wasn't that last week? There'll be something different next week anyway. So stay on your toes, folks. It's just, and they've given this storm, and was it Storm Babbitt or something like that? We used to have a name for all of this kind of weather. It was called winter. Comes around once a year. The weather gets a bit inclement, and as a species, we've learned to deal with it. So it's there you go. Anyway, that's it. That's my mention of the weather. So there you go. Dr. Gomez, you're saying you turn those government notifications off. Yeah, it's not government notifications, mate. It's I have the weather app on my phone, so I can look and see whether I need me flat cap or me woolly hat when I go out on a morning with walking the dog, and it's if I knew how to turn the notifications off, I would. But I'm an old Luddite, and it's there are things that are on this phone that I have no idea what they're for or what they do. Do you know what I use this telephone for primarily? Making phone calls. Imagine that. It's foreign wasps that are going to kill all our bees. That's the next thing, is it? Well, fair enough. Yes, nice to be ahead of the curve, I suppose. Let's have a look. See what we got. Oh, theme tunes. You, sir, are a gentleman and a scholar. Yeah, I got a little message from Edwin earlier. He's out on the beer with his son, who's just landed himself a new job. So, congratulations to young Mr. Toonan. He's out with Toonan the Elder, and they're currently consuming hopefully large quantities of beer in a kind of father-son bonding exercise. And good for them. Let's have a look, see what else has been going on in the chat. Steve Cassidy, we just got a brand new pool in the back garden and it was free. Yes, you can go and sunbathe next to it in the morning, mate, can't you? You Scottish lads, you made from kind of fairly stern stuff, I believe. Deco Dude says, my phone's dumb like me. Yeah, there's something to be said for having just a phone that just makes phone calls. But, one thing that it is convenient because, whenever I used to go anywhere for where I would have to be hanging around and waiting, anything, like hospital appointments or anything like that, you want a book to read, you possibly want some music to listen to, and you need your phone on you. So back then I'd have to take my Kindle, my little Sony MP3 player, and my phone. So one in each pocket. It is more convenient having them all in one place. But you do get people saying, "Oh, I've got this new phone. It's great. Look, you can watch the telly on it." Well, yeah, but I've got a telly. And half the time I'm sat in front of that downstairs in the living room, and I don't want to watch what rubbish is on it. It's just, it's God, how old do I sound? Rent to Kill is asking, how's the how's the lovely Dougal? He's doing fine. He's doing fine. I think the stardom has gone to his head because he was in that video. When was it? Last Sunday, and he's going to be appearing in another one very soon as well, in a few weeks' time. Anyway, because I'm doing another one of those comparisons where it's like I don't want you to see which guitar I'm playing, so I just put some pictures of Dougal up, and that seems to. Whenever I put Dougal in a video, the viewing figures seem to get that little bit higher. So hopefully he won't start demanding extra royalties or kind of extra bonios or whatever. Right, where are we? Moto, what you're saying there, mate? Father-son bonding does not often end well with beer drinking. Youth has more resilience and experience. Yes. Okay, well, yeah, but the thing is, I'm sure at some point in our youthful days, we've all got tanked up on an alcoholic beverage of our choosing, and done what the Australians refer to as the Technicolor yawn. But one thing that comes with age is experience and learning how to pace yourself. And it's got to be decades since that particular malady has affected me. I just get this little kind of voice in my head where it says, "Yeah, you should probably set that round out, or you should probably make this your last one." And I've learned to have the good sense to listen to that little voice. And I'm blessed with the fact that these days I rarely get hangovers. So, as long as I remember to take the spoonful of honey and the pint of water before I go to bed, then, I'm usually okay the next morning. So there we go. Anyway, I've only had 2 beers during this live stream. I can't believe how much I'm slowing down. Age is a cruel, cruel mistress. Let's have a look, see what we got just before we wrap up. He might join the Screen Actors Guild strike. Yes, well, more bacon bits for Dougal. Jay Young, how about a video on your desert island rig, John? 2 guitars, 1 amp, 3 pedals. Let me write that down. 2 guitars, 1 amp, 3 pedals. I see what you've done there, mate. Oh, no, you haven't. I was thinking that would be 2 plus 1 plus 3. I was thinking that makes 5, but you can tell I've had a beer because it makes 6. But yeah, dream rig or desert island rig. Let's write that down. It's on the list, mate. That is a video that's going to get made. That'll probably come out sometime in December. I'm currently working on videos for early December because I'm a busy boy and I like to stay in front. And we're coming up to the hour, chaps, so I'm going to wrap things up there. And once again, just to say thank you so much, each and every one of you, 176 at current count, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute shite for an hour. I think, did I just say a naughty word? I think I got away with it, though. Yeah, thank you once again, everyone. It's a blast, this. I love this part of a Friday, and I look forward to it all week, and it's only because of you, chaps. I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, I'm going to wrap things up. So, time, gentlemen, please.